Welcome to the Red Conrad Show, the story of my life and world events how I see them. If you like the show, don't forget to subscribe. Let's get this going.
Hi, everyone. This is JJ, the co-founder of Good Pods. If you haven't heard of it yet, Good Pods is like Goodreads or Instagram, but for podcasts. It's new, it's social, it's different, and it's growing really fast. There are more than 2 million podcasts, and we know that it is impossible to figure out what to listen to. On Good Pods, you follow your friends and podcasters to see what they like. That is the number one way to discover new shows and episodes. You can find Good Pods on the web or download the app. Happy listening.
Have you ever been in a situation where you literally had opportunity available to you and the ability to make a certain opportunity happen and you didn't because you didn't realize it until it was too late? Well, I did that. I was so focused on where I was in my life, how I interpreted it. My life sucked. My life was messed up. I did not like my life. I did not like where it was going. I was so focused on that, I was doing stupid shit to deal with life. Me and my friends would, after I got out of work, we'd drink, we'd smoke. I bought a lot of our alcohol and weed and cigarettes for my friends and me. When we got stoned and went to White Castle, I paid for a lot of that. I bankrolled a lot of it. But, whatever, they were my friends. I was working. Most of them weren't. Is what it is. I don't regret it. I actually, miss some of my friends. A couple of them passed away to different reasons. One of my friends passed due to a health condition they had. I had a friend that passed away to suicide. I had another friend that OD'd. But anyways, we drink, smoke weed. I paid for a lot of it. I paid for our White Castle or whatever we had when we got high. But aside from hanging out with my friends and getting drunk and stoned all the time, I was always working 2-3 jobs back to back. And my main focus was, I'm in a dead-end position with my life. I didn't want to be stuck working in dead-end jobs. How would I be as dead-end jobs the rest of my life? And I did not go to college. I tried trade school, messed that up on myself. Being a jackass. I forget what they call those stupid things, but they had like these boxes. Now you put the different components in. And then you put the tester on it, or flip the switch on the tester to see if you put everything in the right way. Well, you see what would happen, I deliberately put a diode in the wrong way. And when I turned the tester on, it froze the machine and it shot the diode across the room. I almost hit the damn teacher in the head with the diode as he came into the room. And that was pretty much the end of my time at trade school. But there were things I wanted to do with my life back then. Like, I was all into graphic design. I was interested in electronics. That's why I went to trade school. They were teaching us everything. How to, build different things. How to do different things. So when I got out of trade school, I'd have, different avenues available to me for jobs. And I was supposed to end up with a job, damn well paying job with Cablevision upon graduation. And then Cablevision had a program where they were offering to pay for you to go back to school and get your next degree up so you can, move up the ladder. So I could have had life set for me if I made it through trade school, and I didn't. I was an idiot. I got myself kicked out, whatever is what it is. I was young, I was stupid, and I, at the time, really didn't care. But had I paid attention to different things, different opportunities that were available to me, and had I paid better attention to my own bank accounts, my life could have been so different than it ended up. I mean, I got to a point where I had my success, things were appearing to go well, and then I just lost freaking everything. And then I have been, struggling since then to get my life back in order, get myself back up to, what I consider to be success. But from 16 to 22, so we're only talking 6 years time frame here. Back when minimum wage was only $6, $6.50 an hour, I managed to save up about $10,000 in my savings account and $5,000 in my checking account, and I always had at least anywhere from $100 to $500 cash in my pocket any given day of the week. That's what I spent out of. And that's probably why my friends perceive me as always having enough money to afford everything. Because, when you're looking at your friend's wallet and it's got, a couple $100 in there every damn day, well, they gotta have money. Or, your friend's working 2 fucking full-time jobs, and now and again, there was a third job, part-time or full-time on top of that, you're gonna view that particular friend as they got money, right? So, but I wasn't paying attention. All I was doing was working. I was putting a lot of my money in my savings account, another good chunk in my checking account, and I kept a couple $100 cash in my pocket to spend. Beyond that, I really wasn't paying attention to how much I had in each account. Not until it was too late. And from the way my stories keep on going, I'm going to have to talk about that part of my life in the next episode. It's going to be 2 or 3 episodes long, but that era of my life keeps on coming up in everything I try to record. So, I made brief mention of it in the 2 some background episodes. Every attempt I make at making this one, it comes up. So I'm gonna have to just get that off my chest, starting with the next episode. But I was so focused on the fact that, I'm working dead-end jobs. I didn't want to have the rest of my life working dead-end jobs, right? I didn't want to work 2, 3 jobs the rest of my life. I wanted to be able to have a job or a business, work, normal hours, and be able to have a relatively normal life, raise a family, And I was so focused on that I didn't realize opportunities that came available to me. I didn't realize how much money I had in the bank, and what that money could have done for me. There are several things I could have done with that money. I could have used it to launch a low-cost enter business, right? A lot of businesses, particularly franchises, you need several $100,000s, millions of dollars to get started. I didn't have that, obviously. There's other businesses that, you're looking at spending tens of thousands to 6 figures to start, between the equipment, the licensing, all that kind of crap you're gonna need. But there are businesses that you can start out, very limited, but very cheap to get started. And as you build up a client base, the money starts coming in, and you can afford the extra equipment, and you can afford the extra licensing, and you can afford the extra types of insurances and whatnot that you need for different services. You can always expand that business into the other areas. Take a commercial janitorial business, for example. Not just commercial, just janitorial in general, right? It doesn't cost that much money to incorporate, to get registered, get licensed and insured, and get basic equipment. Mop, bucket, shit like that. And go after residential and commercial customers for basic cleaning. Then, as you build up your client base, you build up some money, you can start affording to purchase the extra equipment and then add on services. Can get, move into from regular cleaning to more fine-tuned cleaning, like stripping and waxing or carpets, things like that. Now there is cheap equipment that you could use to do that kind of work with, but you want to get the job done relatively quickly, so you can get done with that customer and move on to the next one. And some of the equipment that you can pick up to use for those particular kind of jobs does get expensive. When I had my cleaning business, one of the machines we used for carpet cleaning in particular, the one machine was a $10,000 machine. Got the job done pretty quick. Before we got that machine, we had other things we used, but it made the job took a hell of a lot longer than it took when we got that machine. So, you don't need a hell of a lot of money to start certain types of businesses. And you don't even have to like the first business you start. You're just doing something to better your life, get into a better situation. When it gets big enough and the business is now worth something, you could always sell it. Use the money you got from selling it to start the business that you wanted to start, doing something that you actually want to do for the rest of your life, There is stock trading. $15,000 is more than enough to get involved in stock trading. When I learned how to do stocks, this one strategy that I learned from a professional trader, I tested it out with a whopping $130, and I turned that into $1,500. Now, it doesn't sound like a lot of money, because it really isn't. I didn't jump in with a lot of money. I wanted to test how well I learned the strategy, put money on a few different stocks, and $130 turned $1,500. So, now if I had put more money on, obviously the amount I profited would have been that much higher. So there's things that 15 grand could have done for me had I realized I had it. Instead, I was focused on these stupid dead-end jobs, working multiple jobs, trying to figure out, where I wanted to go with my life. I had opportunities come before me that I blew off. I got started in network marketing, doing prepaid legal. I believe they're called Legal Shield nowadays. And I went all into that. I studied the material so well, you could have asked me anything, and I would have had the answers coming right out of my head. I did not need the material in front of me to answer anybody's questions on anything that the company offered, any of the plans that we sold. I had all of that memorized. Right? I tried a lot of different things to get out of the dead end I perceived myself to be in, without realizing different opportunities that were in front of me, and without realizing how much money I had in the bank. What made me realize how much money I had was only when I changed bank accounts after I started working for the business, right? I moved my banks to the bank that my business partner used, personal and business accounts, and somewhere during this process is where I lost $10,000 of my money. It got funneled from my account into one of his accounts, and I didn't even realize it happened until a couple years later, when now I needed that money. It was just gone. And I come to find out that he was actually pretty good friends with the bank manager. When him and the bank manager were talking, privately, which at the time didn't faze me. I mean, they were friends. The bank manager claimed that he hadn't seen my business partner in a good while. So for all I know, while they were setting up my account, the bank manager and my business partner were just, playing catch up or whatever. Well, apparently that wasn't the case, because I needed my money, and I looked at my accounts. Over $10,000 that I should have had wasn't there. I ended up, losing everything to that asshole. On top of freaking being broke after the business crashed. Which, like I said, that era of my life is a story in and of itself. I'm not going to get into it now. I guess I'll start that story in the next episode. Well, I might finally go into that story in the next episode, since it keeps on wanting to pop up. With that era of my life, man. And there is a reason, but when I talk about that part of my life, you'll understand. I hope you'll understand how I managed to lose that money and not even realize it, with the mind frame I was in at that point in my life, and how it was possible with the bank manager involved, because he was involved in that. There was a lot of things going on that the average person just. This shit doesn't happen to the average person. I was unlucky enough for it to happen to me, and that pisses me off. But, like I said, the state of mind that I was in when I was younger, and the shit that I was doing when I was younger, I just did not realize a whole hell of a lot that was going on right in front of me. So, I had the ability to have a whole different life than what I got now. I had multiple opportunities present themselves to me. But because I was so focused on, I want to be rich. I don't want to have to work, 100 hours a fucking week the rest of my life. A lot of the opportunities that came before me that looked like they might take a little while to really start benefiting me, I didn't give a shit about them. I wanted money yesterday, So naturally, when my business partner came up to me and offered me the job, training for 6 months. If I liked the job after 6 months, I was going to become BPO and get 10% of the business. That I took. I didn't really ask too many questions. I asked just the basic stupid shit that any idiot would have asked, but I didn't really build on that. I just, okay. And he seemed like a decent guy when I first met him. So I took it, because of all my other opportunities that were presented to me, everything from getting involved in other people's businesses or other jobs, or trying to work my way up the ladder at one of the jobs that I did have. It just seemed like a forever long process to finally get to where I wanted to be at, with the possibility that it never would have happened. Just because you're working somewhere and you're a hard worker doesn't mean that you're definitely 100% going to get that promotion when it becomes available. And I just did not want to take the risk of being locked in at a low position the rest of my life. Because even in the big companies, because like I said, 7-Eleven, it was pretty much, if I stayed there, I can only go so high. Sooner or later, I was going to get capped on my income because the guy only owned 3 stores, right? So he's not going to. There's only so high you can climb. There's only so much an hour you're going to be able to get up to, and then that's it. It definitely wasn't a career job, right? But even places like Target or Walmart or Kohl's, whatever, these bigger companies, there's still there's room to be promoted when promotions become available. But out of the entire pool of people that would be eligible to apply for that promotion when it became available, you were not guaranteed that promotion, no matter how hard you worked, you know? So, in the position that you're in, yeah, you'll get raises every 6 months or to a year, depending on what that particular company's thing is on how they do the raises. But after a while, even that is going to get capped. You're only going to get raises up to a certain point, and then you're not going to be making anything more an hour than that unless you get promoted. And that just didn't, it wasn't appealing to me. I didn't want to be capped off. I wanted money yesterday, and I didn't want to have limits on how much I can earn. Well, a lot of the opportunities that came before me more or less suggested that I'd be stepping out of one pot into another, so to speak. Like I might have started out as a better paying job than what I was working, but there still would have been no guarantee that I would have climbed the ladder. No guarantee that I would have gotten to the point in life that I wanted to get to. So I either blew off the opportunities or didn't even recognize that they were there. There was a couple, looking back, that I didn't even realize I had when they were available. Then there's things that I could have done with my money. Had I paid more attention to how much money I had in my accounts, and had I, paid better attention to what I could have done with that money, I could have propelled myself into a situation. Yeah, it would have taken a couple months, maybe a year or two, to really start getting an ROI on that investment, depending on what I did with it. But there are things I could have done with my money that could have propelled me into the life that I wanted. It would have taken a little bit of work. It would have taken, a leap of faith with my money. But the fact that I had that much money saved up after only 6 years of working low-end jobs, that was a lot. So I should have been able to realize that, well, I got all this money. It only took me 6 years to get, working low-end jobs. A lot of them were minimum wage. I had a couple of overnight jobs where I got time differential. So worst case scenario should have been that I make an investment in this, that, or the other thing to try to better myself. Whether I got involved in the stock market, whether I tried launching one of my own businesses, whatever. And worst case scenario being, well, I'll lose everything, but if I can do that in 6 years, I can do it again. You know what I mean? And obviously, when you start something new, you want to keep your job too, until whatever you're doing for income is high enough to replace your job. So what I should have done was figured out which job would have been the lowest paying one, obviously. I would have quit to free up time to do what I needed to do to turn an investment into some serious income. But I didn't do that. I didn't realize the different options I had in front of me that I could have done. I didn't realize how much money I even had in the freaking bank. Okay, like this is the state of mind that I was in, and it wasn't because I was drunk all the time or stoned all the time. I mean, when I had my business with my business partner, I was pretty much not in my right mind there then either. Probably worse than before I met him. Because before I met him, before I got involved in that business, I was mainly drinking and smoking weed. Alright? Not a big deal. I was holding down jobs, being a drunk and a pothead. When I was with this guy, I was popping Vicodins that he was supplying me for my back pain from an injury I got at one of my jobs. I was popping Xanax and Valiums that he was supplying me. I'll get into where exactly the drugs were coming from, but as of right now, all you need to know is that they were his. Okay, and he was sharing with me. I'll get into the nitty gritty of it when I talk about that particular story, that era of my life. But he's sharing his medication with me. All I knew I had was bipolar at that point. Like I wasn't yet diagnosed with the BPD or anything like that yet. So I'm taking the Xanax and the Valium, figuring that it'll help me with my depression and my anxiety. And I had to have been in a worse state of mind during that era of my life than I was beforehand. I mean, if looking at pictures of me from that era of my life, I literally looked like I was The Walking Dead. Like, I did not look healthy at all. So it was clearly obvious something was wrong. And unfortunately for me, I don't remember anybody, anyways, bringing that up to me. Like how I started this business with this guy, and then all of a sudden I look like absolute shit. I don't remember anybody bringing that up to my attention and asking me, what the fuck was going on? Was I eating enough? Am I fucking doing anything stupid? Like, why do I look like shit? I don't remember anybody saying that to me at all during that time period. I don't remember anyways anybody asking me that until after that era ended. Which annoys me, but it is what it is. But when I talk about that part of my life, I'll explain how I lost my money. And why at the time I didn't realize it. But this is just, really to give you an example of how fucked up my head is, or was. Because I'm more on the ball, currently. Because of my past and different experiences I went through. And, different friends of mine that I've made since then. And particularly, a lot of it, thanks to Joanne, I've calmed down a lot from how I used to be. I've learned a lot of different coping skills for my issues that I have. That's been able to help me where I can slow my mind down, and just kind of think about things. Like I'm not as anxious, I guess, for lack of better terms. I can't think of the word I'm trying to think of. As I was back then. But yeah, I had the world at my fingertips, and I was so fucking blind that I let it literally slip away. Talk about being young and stupid, right? I mean, who the fuck manages to amass, I don't care how young or old you are, who manages to amass money into two separate bank accounts and not know how much money they have? Like, I mean, no, it wasn't a lot of money. It really wasn't. But it was enough that I could have done so many different things to propel my life down a way different path, potentially better path than the one it went down. Like, how can anybody be so caught up in their self-pity that they don't realize what they got? But that's how my mind is. You know, I'm not going to say was. I mean, I do see things differently than I did back then. I do respond to different things differently back then. And I'm way more conscious of, you know, how much money I do or don't have and where it's all going than I was back then. I mean, life experiences are basically life lessons. If you don't learn from different things you go through, you're a fucking idiot. There's absolutely no reason why anybody, whether you're a normal person, whether you're mentally fucked up like I am, or whatever, there's no reason to keep on repeating the same fucking mistakes over and over again. You go through a situation, good or bad, and you learn from it. And that's basically what I've done. I've just been through so much shit. I honestly feel like I've lived an entire lifetime already. I was actually told by my grandmother back when I was, I don't know, 25, 26. It was somewhere around, like, just before I moved to Florida. She told me everything that I've been through, that back then, I pretty much lived, you know, a full lifetime at that point. It's like the amount of stuff that I've been through in my life is ridiculous. Like, I've been through so many things that the average person just doesn't go through. Like, I don't know how these situations found me, but they did. A lot of the stories I'm going to be talking about on this show, you're going to laugh at, you're going to feel as far-fetched, you're going to think I'm making some of it up, particularly that story about my business partner, that era of my life. You might think I'm making up. It all happened. There are other people that, if I can get them to come on the show and talk about it, can verify that shit did actually happen. They were there. They were part of it. There were other people that were witness to it. You know, they weren't like right in the center of it, but they were witnesses to what was going on. So, you know, I do have people, if I can get them on the show, that can verify that everything I'm talking about on this show did, in fact, actually happen. It's all true. Just the average person doesn't go through shit like this. And, you know, some people aren't lucky enough that maybe one or two things I've been through, they might end up going through. But I think I'm probably the unluckiest person in the freaking world to have as much of what happened to me happen to me. Especially like back to back. It's just insane. Bottom line is, you know, I'm just trying to get the point across of how messed up my mind is and how fucked up I used to view things. I had the world at my fingertips, literally. I could have done anything. I had money enough where I could have started myself into a number of different directions and been so much better off than I am now. I don't know if that path would have kept me in New York, or if I still would have ended up in Florida, if I still would have ended up, you know, somewhere else in the country where cost of living was cheaper than New York. I don't know. I don't know that, because I don't know which avenue I would have gone down had I realized the money that I had before it was stolen from me. Had I realized the different opportunities that were in front of me, I don't know which one I would have taken and where it would have taken me ultimately. All I do know is that there's a damn good chance that my life would have been a hell of a lot better and certainly way different than it is currently, because I didn't realize what I had when I had it. So, you know, my mind is completely screwed. Like, I was so focused on what was right in front of me. All I had to do was just back up and look at the bigger picture. Realize that there was different things I could have done to either get over or around that wall that was in front of me. And I couldn't do that. For whatever reason, I just couldn't do that. I was too focused on what was right in front of my face. that I just was blind to everything else. And part of me regrets it. Part of me doesn't, because by losing what I did, I went down the path of my life where I met Joanne. Even though cancer took her away from me a year and a half ago, she had to have been by far the best part of my life. She was my world. And there's other things that happened that taught me certain things that I don't know if similar situations would have arose had I gone down a different path in life. So the only real reason why I regret not realizing what I had, and at least making an attempt at investing in something, whether it would have been a business of my own or stock trading or whatever, back when I had the money available to me, is the fact that had I done that, there's a possibility I could have been in a better situation than I am now. Outside of that possibility, I don't regret how things went, because, like I said, doing things the way I did do things taught me a lot about myself, about people in general. And a lot of it was, wake-up calls that I really needed to have. I just don't like certain situations that I went through, certain situations that I'm currently going through, that I feel that I've done something else with my life I probably wouldn't be going through, at least not this bad. And there you have it. Somebody that busted their ass for 6 years, from 16 to 22, attained a lot of knowledge about different things, a good chunk of money, was completely blind to it, didn't realize what they had when they had it, and ultimately took an opportunity when it arose that was the worst possible opportunity they could have taken, because it looked good on the surface, but beneath the surface it was the worst opportunity that kicked off a chain of events that just made a life of absolute fucking hell. And I guess I will start talking about that in the next episode. But if you listened to some background part 1 and part 2, you'll remember, and if you didn't listen to those episodes, you only listen to this one, I'll tell you now, that particular story, that era of my life, I will go into the beginning of the story on the free content, but there's going to be at least a part that's going to be subscriber only content, because there's going to be things said that I just don't feel, like I said in my first episodes, I'm trying to put as much of a wall as possible between certain content of mine and minors. So marking my podcast as explicit, because I do fucking curse. I will be talking about different mental health issues. There will be mention, like there was in this episode, of alcohol and drugs. There's just certain content I don't feel, minors should have easy access to. Can't have that paywall up. It's just one extra step that somebody would have to go through to listen to it. And then on top of that, there's people that get all upset over certain triggers. So despite my trigger warnings in the description, in the logo for the show, on the webpage I set up for the show, despite the trigger warnings, the listener discretion is advised warning that I have up, I want to make sure people understand, that there's going to be certain content that it's going to be full of triggers, potential triggers. If you want to listen to it and you're not a minor, you can pay the subscription to hear it. At least, if you pay the subscription, I know that you wanted to hear that. You're prepared for any potential triggers, and hopefully you're not a minor listening to content you shouldn't be listening to. At least in my personal opinion. It's very, it's going to be very, yeah. So, next episode, I might be getting started on this first business of mine with my business partner. But by the second part, the second part may end up being subscriber only. Only because of what took place during that part of my life. And different things I'm going to be talking about from that part of my life. There's going to be at least a part of that story that's going to end up being subscriber only. So before I repeat myself for the gazillionth time, because I believe I did at least a couple times already on this topic. The point is, my mind was fucked up. Alright, I was, because I don't know if I want to put the full blame on my conditions, or if, the environment that I was in had a role to play in how I was viewing myself in my life, or if it was a combination thereof. But the fact of the matter is, my mind was so fucked up, I did not see what was right in front of me until I lost it. I didn't see the ability or the option to do one of several different things that could have made my life so much better than it's been until it was too late. So if you're listening to this right now, whether you have a condition that I have or not, whether you suffer with a mental issue or you're quote unquote normal, average, whatever you want to say, regardless of that fact, no matter how bad you think your life is, trust me, it can get worse. And believe me, there are options you have available to you that can make your life better. It's going to take time. It's going to take work. Some things, a lot of things, to make your life better, financially speaking anyways, does require an investment on top of, the hard work and time. But there are things you can do. I mean, like I said, one of the things that I could have done, that I did get involved in a couple of years ago, is stock trading. Now, I had people talking to me about getting involved in stocks since I was younger. But the whole idea of stocks, even when Bitcoin first came out, that scared the crap out of me. Like, you're giving your money to the stock market or to the crypto market with no idea what's going to happen. Like, I didn't understand the concept of trading at the time. But a couple years ago, I looked into it. I found a professional stock trader, that had a couple of different strategies he taught. One of them was relatively easy to me, so I focused on learning just that strategy, and it worked. Now, if somebody as fucked up in the head as me can understand the stock market and is able to learn an effective trading strategy in only a few short months, so I think I only spent 2-3 months studying this guy's stuff and paper trading the strategy before I finally put real money on it. If I can learn it in such a short amount of time and then manage to get a profit out of the stock market, anybody can. I mean, I don't want to make myself sound like a complete fucking idiot, because I do have brains, right? I do feel I am pretty intelligent. I might not be, the smartest person in the world, well, I'm not fucking stupid either. But because of how my mind works, there are certain things that, I might not understand right away. I might take certain things to completely the wrong way. So the fact that despite my mental conditions and how I view things, somebody like me was able to learn the stock market and learn a trading strategy in that short amount of time, and then manage to pull a profit off the stock market. Anybody can. Anybody. So, if you think your life is bad now, you're stuck in a certain spot, you're really not. Don't be the jackass that I was when I was younger and not realize the options you have in front of you until those options are gone. Whether it's getting a better paying job somewhere else, whether it's starting your own business with a low cost to enter, or whether it's getting involved in the stock market, whatever. There are options you have available to you to make your life better. It's just going to take a little bit of investment, money and time. You're going to have to put some work into it, but it can be done. Nobody's life is doomed to failure. Okay, what our lives are is a sum of our decisions. We're only at each point of life. We're only dealing with the experience, with the situations we're in now because of decisions we made in the past. So if you're too blind to certain opportunities that you have available to you until they're already gone, well, that was a decision you made. Can you consciously or subconsciously chose to ignore those opportunities that could have put you in a better spot? Okay, but it doesn't mean that you have to live out the rest of your life that way. All right, that's kind of the point I'm trying to get across here. Like, I was young, I was stupid, I fucked up. I didn't realize what I had until it was too late. I missed out on a lot of opportunities. I allowed my money that I had when I was younger to get stolen from me. But here's what it is. I gotta deal with that. I have to, ultimately come to terms with that to a degree I have already. I'm just saying. But had I stepped back and looked at the bigger picture, there was several opportunities that I could have done, several things I could have invested in, that could have made my life way better than it turned out. Okay, that's the general point here. Because my mind is so fucked up, I didn't realize this until years after the fact. All right, so no matter how bad you think your life is, believe me, it really isn't. You have options available to you. I don't care how little or how much money you have, or where you're working, how much money you're earning. There's always something you can do to make your life better. I mean, shit, before I got involved in actual brick and mortar businesses, I was involved in network marketing. Network marketing is by far, and affiliate marketing. I did affiliate marketing for a little while too. Affiliate marketing and network marketing are by far the easiest and cheapest businesses to get involved in. Is the business technically yours? Not 100%. Before you say, well, it's a pyramid scheme, well, everything is. I mean, you work at a regular job, a so-called regular job, right? Well, what do you have? You got the CEO up at top, then you got the other C-level executives beneath him, and then you got all the V-level executives beneath them, then you got the other management levels beneath them, all the way down until you get to the bottom where you have all your entry-level staff. So what do you got? A fucking pyramid. Yes, there are network marketing companies that are scams, but literally everything is a pyramid, so to speak. So again, no, network marketing is not technically your business. You don't own the company. But the way a lot of network marketing companies are set up is you do own your organization. In other words, anybody you bring into the company, those are your people. All right. And I know people in network marketing that have left one company to join another one in a similar niche, and they actually sold their organization from the previous company to somebody else. Some companies let you do that because, like I said, you own your organization within the company. It's not necessarily your business, as far as you're the president of the company. No, it's not yours to that degree, but it is your business. I mean, you're getting involved in a company, you're selling products. You're not going to sell anything unless you market it. The company's not going to market it for you. I mean, the companies have to make money themselves too, right? So, say you're selling Joe's Java, for example, right? If somebody hears about Joe's Java and they buy it straight from the company, or if they're set up where it has to go through a rep and do a rep search, there's no guarantee you're going to be the rep that they find. You got to put the effort into it. So, like, even if you get started with network marketing, I did. Even after I started my brick and mortar businesses, I'm still involved in network marketing. Like I said in a couple episodes now, I'm big into health and wellness. A lot of companies that I've worked with were all health and wellness related companies. All non-GMO organic, all companies where I've actually bought the products first and tested them out before I started marketing them. And I went through a couple companies that way before I finally found one that I felt comfortable with marketing, because the products actually worked. Other companies I tried, for me, the products didn't work, so why market them, But that's just me. So there are things you can do, regardless where you're at in life, that you could make yourself financially better. Don't be as stupid and blind as I was when I was younger. Okay? Everybody has the ability to make their lives better. Almost everybody does have opportunities constantly coming to them right in front of them. They just have to open their eyes and see it. I was stupid when I was younger. I missed out on a lot of opportunities. I missed out on a chance to make my life way better than it turned out. And that's on me. I was young. I was stupid. I was too focused on what was right in front of me instead of stepping back and looking at the big picture. Don't make the same mistake that I did. And I don't care how young or how old you are at this point in your life either. No matter how old you are. I mean, the guy that started KFC, he was, in his 60s when he started that business? So no matter how old you are, there's always an opportunity to make yourself, to make your life better than what it currently is. If you've made it this long through this episode of my repeating myself and whatnot, I appreciate it. And I hope to see you in the next episode. Have a wonderful day. Thank you for listening to this episode of The Red Conrad Show. Don't forget to subscribe, and remember, if you're not listening on Spotify is the home of my subscription-only content. So any stories you want to hear that have part 1 or they're missing pieces on the free side, you gotta hop over to Spotify and subscribe to the subscription content to get the missing pieces of those particular stories. I will see you in the next episode.
Hi, everyone. This is JJ, the co-founder of Good Pods. If you haven't heard of it yet, Good Pods is like Goodreads or Instagram, but for podcasts. It's new, it's social, it's different, and it's growing really fast. There are more than 2 million podcasts, and we know that it is impossible to figure out what to listen to. On Good Pods, you follow your friends and podcasters to see what they like. That is the #1 way to discover new shows and episodes. You can find Good Pods on the web or download the app. Happy listening!